Good morning, hello, hi, good afternoon if you're watching it in the afternoon. I want to talk something about setting and achieving goals in this video, and I in particular also want to talk about how we work with the ways in which we self-sabotage ourselves, how we get in our own way. Now, coaching very much is about achieving goals and objectives. It's not always, and there are also forms of therapy which are also about achieving goals and objectives. But typically, somebody comes for coaching. We ask what's not working for you, what are you unhappy about, what you want to change in your life, and then we will set goals and objectives to achieve the kind of life that they want to have. Now, most of the goals and objectives that people come with are quite reasonable. They are things like, I want to earn more money, I want to get a different job, I want to be promoted, I want to improve my relationships, I want to have less stress. They are things that people would have achieved, millions of people, in fact, have achieved throughout the world. You don't usually, well, I don't get people who come with really off-the-wall stuff like, I want to use recyclable material to build a capsule that orbits Jupiter 7 times. Okay, so most of the goals are things that people have done. Yet a lot of people come quite upset, having spent many, many years trying to achieve a goal which they haven't managed to achieve. And I want to talk in this video about what I believe is the number one reason why people don't achieve their goals. The famous Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Now, you might be wondering, what are we doing talking about the unconscious in coaching? Isn't that something that belongs more in the realm of psychotherapy? And there are quite a lot of articles and comments and blogs and so forth talking about the difference between life coaching and psychotherapy. But the unconscious, remember, the unconscious influences about 80% of our thinking. So where you are right now in your life, a very good part of it will be because of what you're doing or you're thinking unconsciously and how that's affecting your actions. So the unconscious plays a role in both coaching and psychotherapy. And in fact, so does the past, present, and future. There might be different emphases in the different practices, but you definitely need to look at all aspects. You can't coach without considering any aspect of the past. But in this case, I want to talk about the role that the unconscious plays. Okay, so we know that the unconscious is quite significant. And in coaching, we do look at trying to uncover and make aware what is in your consciousness, because it probably is what is unconscious and what you are not aware of, which is stopping you from achieving your goals. The brain is quite goal-directed, and for the most part, if you set your mind to do something and you're quite inspired about the outcome and it's something you really want, you can go ahead and achieve it. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of stuff in the way, and a lot of that stuff is stuff we are not aware of. Okay, so when we do coaching, we start off by looking at goals. And we set and achieve goals. And in fact, one of the ways in which we go about uncovering the unconscious is the actual process of setting and achieving goals. Yes, setting and achieving goals is about sitting there and making progress in life and getting the life that we want. But it also is a tool for uncovering what we are unaware of and what's going on in our unconscious. So after people have actually set their goals, one of the questions I will ask them is, so why haven't you got this goal already? Why haven't you reached this goal? And then they will start with things like, well, you know, probably most of the excuses. I didn't have time, or I didn't know how to do it, or I didn't know what steps were involved, which are actually all excuses, because you own your time. It's not about a lack of time. And it's not about, I didn't know the steps, because then the next question is, well, why didn't you ask somebody what the steps would be? Or why didn't you try and look it up? So the 5 whys technique can be quite useful here in drilling down into what is the real reason why you have not achieved your goals. And in the process of drilling down, we will often come across things like fear, shame, guilt, And then we can get into making some of the unconscious conscious and improving awareness. And it is only when you become aware of that, how you are self-sabotaging yourself through what you are not even aware of, that you are actually going to be able to achieve your goals. The other question that we ask also quite a lot in the beginning of coaching is around the actions. Now, coaching has what we call actions or homework. There are various types of psychotherapy that also have actions or homework. Homework, I think, is a terrible term. But it's about going to sit there and do actions. And you need to do stuff in between sessions because a lot of it is about rewiring the way you think, feel, and behave. And you're not going to do that unless you practice it. So when people come back, there's a check-in and there's a question around, did you do your actions? And I will quite often have people going, whoa, Penny's going to be so cross with me because I didn't take my actions. And that's because we are socially conditioned to, you must do your work. I am more interested in, if you didn't do it, why? Because that's the part that is informative, and that's the part that is interesting, and that is the part that is gonna help you. So we get to, okay, I did these or I didn't do these, and the question is then, why didn't you do them? And this also might take quite a lot of digging because I didn't have time. Whatever comes up is often the first stuff. It's superficial and it's not getting at the real reason why things weren't done. And then a related question to that is, where else does this stop you from doing things in your life? Chances are quite good if we act in a self-sabotaging way in one area of our life, we may very well do it in another area of our life. So we continue with making the unconscious conscious, and we continue with increasing somebody's awareness about why they do or don't do what they do. And throughout the coaching process, there will be various questions and various exercises and so forth to actually start understanding what really is behind our behavior and what really is behind what's making us happy and successful or unhappy and unsuccessful. Okay, we live in a society that likes quick fixes. Dealing with the unconscious might seem like a bit of an old thing to deal with, as something from years gone by. It might seem like, whoa, this is a lot of work. I still truly believe that the unconscious is mostly what stops us in our lives. Whether it be something that, understanding the unconscious, whether it be something that's useful in therapy, it is also very useful in coaching. If you are not living the life you really want to live, and your goals are reasonable, and that means that other people have been able to achieve them as well, then there is something stopping you. And one of the best ways to truly understand it and to truly get ahead in life is to work on making the unconscious conscious and increasing your awareness. It's something that actually takes a long time. It happens over life, but the rewards are immense. From my side, have a great week. Until we see again, goodbye.